New people, new faces.
Well, hey there. What's happening, stranger? Pull up a seat if you want to share.
Knowing my luck, I'll talk to these two people and they'll run off in two completely different directions, making this significantly more difficult for me to finish off.
I guess my deal is pretty clear. You probably see 100 long-haired, bangle-wearing freaks on the road every day. We're the only ones still hitching around, I guess. Bummer, because this is a beautiful place when you take the time to smell the flowers, huh? You know, I'd love to hear a really good, scary story.
Yeah, California's already pretty nice, so going further north where it's colder gotta be a lot nicer. It's so hot around here all the time. Consumes the souls of the dead. Bucket of poison. I haven't upgraded that one yet.
Come on, don't be a drag. That's not true.
Oh, that one's just sad, I guess.
Death. My brother died. They didn't even tell me. I read in the newspaper. He got blown up by a Viet Cong mine, it said. So anyway, got any good ghost stories? Anything scary or weird?
I'm bad at placing the time of this game, apparently. The Vietnam War has happened? I'm always wrong about when I think... Maybe this game takes place multiple times or something. Or maybe time is passing as you go across. I don't know. Or I'm just bad at history. The Cannibal Corn Cult. Rah.
Oh man, that's really good. Good and scary, I mean. Heaven. When I heard about the scene in San Francisco, it seemed like it must be heaven. But when I got there, it was over. Heaven lasted a summer, I guess. So anyway, got any good ghost stories? Anything scary or weird?
She loves scary. We gotta avoid that now, though. Casey Jones.
What, do you think that's cool? Sounds more like you made it up. My travels. Well, I've been on the road a while now, but I didn't get to travel as a kid. Not really. We moved a bit when my dad was in the army, but all base towns are pretty much the same. The first time I left was to go to the Haight. So, got any good, hopeful stories? Anything about what the world should be?
Something hopeful. Better avoid that. So no hopeful and no scary. Those are the ones that she likes. A storm chaser, I guess. That's a thriller.
Huh. Sounds like some kind of dumb movie. Freedom. Yeah, it's wonderful. The wind in your hair, the sun on your skin. Until you realize that now you're free to starve or sleep on the street or get followed by strange men. At least someone feeds you in a cage. You know, I'd love to hear a really good, scary story.
Oh, I know you do. It's your fixation. Those are mostly scary. The Leatherman's funny. Let's throw that one out.
Sounds like we're on different grooves with that joke stuff. Faith. Oh, I had it. A certain kind, anyway. I knew there had to be something else out there. Love, peace, and most of all, understanding. Somewhere there were people who thought the way I did, and they'd take me in and we'd live in beautiful harmony together. Well, there it is. And I feel like I've been doing all the talking. But the sun's coming up soon, so I gotta get ready to go. Heard some interesting stuff about a group of folks getting by up this way. And where are you going? What's your deal, Seeker? What's the future hold for you?
Oh, mostly me stalking you through the woods and all that, till I can farm all your stories out of you. You know, normal things that people do. No biggie. Tell them the story about the trickster spirit who survives in the modern world by pretending to be a journalist. My god, that's the grifter that steals drinks. Now it's a weird trickster spirit, apparently. Really hyping this dude up. I don't think he was all that shit. But okay. Here we are in Seattle. I'll loop around. If I'm real lucky, this character will run off in the same direction, and if I'm really unlucky, that'll run off in a completely different direction, making this this final chapter a bit longer. Hopefully it'll at least point me towards some more stories. The Columbian River? Yep. I really do dig this music.
Across the street from this bar, a man in full uniform stares fixedly at the horizon. The older guys on the porch are watching him with an expression you read as deep distaste.
What's the matter?
That boy wasn't in the war, one tells you. His older brother died in France. But Junior here tells people he fought, and he stands there in the middle of town once or twice a week in his brother's uniform, so we gotta see it. He spits in the dirt.
Poor guy.
The old man's face blooms suddenly and violently red. Fuck you! You want to see a poor guy? He lumbers across the street, and a hunting knife you didn't notice emerges from a sheath you didn't see. Junior! He shouts. You piece of shit! Get out of here!
Wait, no.
Suddenly, the old man is flat on his ass. Junior sprints into the long grass. As far as you can tell, the old man is unhurt. He cries, "Look what he's done to me!" Rolls up the edge of his shirt. The only wound there is the dark triangle of an old bayonet scar, healed long ago.
Yeah, it's potentially disrespectful to be wearing a uniform you didn't earn. But at the same time, it's also like a complex form of mourning. Family member that he lost. Everyone's hurt.
Looks like the cat staked its claim. Share a meal with me? It asks, swinging tail brushing the corpse. He's still partly fresh. It has been a while since you last ate. Can't be choosy in hard times. You sit with the cat and roast the horse flesh over a fire. It's tender meat. It was a beautiful horse, not much older than a colt. Ever been in love? The cat, making small talk.
Yes.
Have you ever loved someone so much that you could not bear to think of life without them?
Sure.
If you did truly love someone like that, and they didn't know it, and you were brave enough to tell them, and they rejected you, do you think you would be able to just move on?
Yes.
Then how can that love have ever been that important to you? The cat scoffs. I couldn't let go of something like that. I wasn't able to. But he's inside me now. And you too.
Whoa. You loved a horse? That shit gets complicated. I was about to say, it's unhealthy and potentially abusive to constantly latch onto somebody that doesn't feel the same way. But I guess that goes without saying when the cat murdered and ate that person, which is apparently a horse. You really just kind of get used to animals talking to you, evidently. Seattle. It's raining, of course. People hurry through the streets with their collars up and water streaming off their hats. North of Pioneer Square, there's a Hooverville with its own mayor, they say.
On top of a hillside boxcar, 4 men in sailors' clothes fix their eyes on the distant waterfront. where a crowd of hundreds clashes with uniformed cops. From this far, the sound resembles some loud, tenacious animal.
What's all this?
After a while of silence, one of the men responds. You notice his bruised eye. Waiting on the police to deal with those strikers so we can get back to work.
You're not on strike?
The man clenches his fists. Hey, mind your damn business.
All right then.
One of those bastards dragged me off the pier and... The police open fire into the crowd. As the shots ring out, the character of the sound changes altogether into terror and pain. Oh, fuck this. Bye.
Bye.
No point dying for a day's work. The man crawls to the edge of the boxcar and hops off. The sound of gunfire continues all across the port, but the dense picket line remains unbroken.
Scab with the black eye. Yeah, it's basically never any justifiable reason for the police to fire upon a strike. Really, it's not their fucking job to get involved. Well, it is their job, unfortunately. That's the fucked up thing. It shouldn't be their job to get involved in any part of that thing. It's a private dispute. Factory gate swing open. Oh, here can use a sewing machine, shouts the foreman. You can mend holes with a needle and thread, but you haven't lived in the same house as a sewing machine in years. Lie and raise your hand? You're ushered into a factory filled with machines you've never seen before. You see spools of leather straps, sliding frames of steel, nothing you recognize. Well, crap. They explain the machinery to your group, but the instructions are totally mystifying. A thick-armed woman next to you makes a grunt of recognition. She probably actually knows how to use a sewing machine, huh? You know you absolutely cannot fake competency here. Fake a catatonic spell. You let your legs go loose and fall flat on your ass, dropping your stuff everywhere. The workers in the crowd yelp and back away. The foreman crouches over you in a panic. He slaps you once in the face. Hey! Hey! Oh shit, oh shit. Lie completely still. Much to your surprise, they're incredibly kind about it. They carry you into a side room and leave you on a cot. You lie there for hours until you're sure they buy it. You get no pay, of course, but at least they let you go without a fuss, urging you to take it easy. Alright, well that didn't accomplish anything, but it was amusing. Fake a catatonic state, sure. I'm telling you a story about the fortune teller whose dark past stained the souls of all her clients. You realize it's the story of the fortune teller and the curse. Stains the soul of all of her clients. A tragic backstory. Final character. August.
You see me here? You think you know me? I didn't start out in the gutter. I was raised right. Mama taught me to read off the Bible. But I'd save up my nickels for the collection plate and buy story rags instead. That smell of wood and paper. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Well, of all the characters I expected for the final character, this one comes as a bit of a surprise. Is Casey Jones a hopeful story? I actually don't know. What do the bridge builders count as?
Sounds like it wants to be a story from the good old rags. But it ain't there yet. I did my chores, said my prayers every day. I was a good boy. But in those rags, I was free. I could be whoever I wanted. You know, some of them books would make me shiver. Murders, ghosts, and witches. Stuff even worse. You got any of those?
So apparently it's a thrilling story. So he wants hopeful ones, and now he wants scary ones. I've got scary. scare comes easy.
Ooh, reminds me of the scary ones I used to read when I was young. Talking about heaven. I guess I had it back then. Lived in a little house in Louisville with a good mama and a daddy who worked hard at the factory.
I would have called that Louisville. He got Louisville. That's a surprise.
Never knew I had dreams for something bigger till I read those stories. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
Hopeful and scary are his jam. Anything else is my go-to now. The buckets of poison is sad, apparently.
Come on, that can't be true. Sorrow ain't like that. Change. Well, it all did change for me eventually. My daddy found those rags. You should have seen his face, red and pulsing. Tore him all up. Nearly tore me up, too. So anyway, I miss a good ghost story. Something spooky, anyway.
Oh, he does like scary. Whoops. So hopeful and scary. I lost track a little bit. He didn't like sad. That's what this one is, right?
Sounds like one of the bad, soppy ones I used to read. Traps? Suppose I like those stories on account of seeing my daddy working himself so hard he came home to drink. Ain't no way out of that, let me tell you. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
Let's throw Quinn out. Oh, damn it. It double scrolled.
Come on, that can't be true. Sorrow ain't like that.
That's a sad one.
Those rags showed me everything travel could be. They took me all over the world. I sailed up the Nile in Egypt. I seen the Statue of Liberty and all those folks coming to America. All of it. My daddy wanted me to quit reading them rags. Said it kept me from hard work. Got his wish, but he didn't get hard work instead. Anyway, I'm headed out this way when the sun comes up. I like your tales. Hope we cross paths again.
Technically, they both kind of headed east. I guess it beats them going south. Tell you a story about Pico's Bill, a cowboy who tamed the wind. Dang. Yeah, I know which story that is. But I don't know anything about Pico's Bill. I have no idea who you're talking about there. Gotta head back east. Right up there should be the northern bound. Oop, there's a story hiding right there. But that should largely be the... Yep, there's the Canada boundary. And before long, apparently, it turns into ocean up there. There's no landmass. That's weird. Oh, there's just a hole over there. There's not even an ocean over there.
The child murmurs softly. The woman blurts out a reply.
Don't call me that. Just don't.
When she realizes the impact of her words, her face crumples with regret. And she notices you.
Please, could you help? Have you heard about a missing child? Any reports of a girl like this?
She nods to the girl tucked under her arm. The girl gasps as if slapped and pleads with the woman.
I'm not lost. Why are you being like this? Mother's playing this game. She says she doesn't know me. Of course she knows me, but she won't stop.
Compare the woman and child.
There's no particular resemblance between them, but they could still be related. The woman blurts,
I've been ill, feverish, but I wouldn't forget my own child. She can't be mine. But what can I do with her?
Keep her.
The woman snarls.
Think I'll suddenly remember giving birth? Breastfeeding? Or do you just believe I'll learn to care? I worked myself sick.
She looks down at the crying girl. Oh, God. I have to, don't I? I can't abandon a child. The woman's expression is bleak.
A woman who'd forgotten her family. Didn't she ask if I'd seen a girl that looked like this one? Was she asking me to identify the girl based on past experience, or was she saying there was another girl like this one that was hers? So if that's the case, it reminds me of Changeling by Angelina Jolie. Or, well, actually, was that by her? Did she direct that? I feel like she might have directed that in addition to starring in it. I feel like I remember hearing that, but I don't really remember. But in that one, her child, she insists that her child isn't her child, and there's no one who will agree with her, and everyone's sure that she's just crazy. And like, she had another child that's missing and she's looking for it, but everyone's like, what do you mean your kid's missing? They're right here.
Outside this restaurant, a middle-aged man in a suit and a full clown makeup is gobbling down a sandwich. 2 tracks of silent tears have carved furrows through his makeup.
What's the matter?
He gulps hard. Tears start up at the corner of his eyes again. I'm gonna work for a traveling show.
Performing in a circus?
No, that's the problem. He pulls you into a drunken, one-armed hug and whispers, "They would only hire me as the manager of the clowns." His eyes are wild and unfocused. And God, these tears are real. I'm not good enough to perform, but they'll let me push paper.
I'm sorry, that's awful.
You're damn right. But God puts us on these paths for a reason, you know. He's suddenly very earnest. He's up there, choosing whether or not I should clown. In his infinite wisdom, choosing no. He thinks for a moment. Bastard.
Aww. Well, he'll make more money, but yeah. He doesn't get to live his dream. He gets to just watch and coach everyone else that's doing that thing. The man reads the newspaper with barely contained horror. He reads out the story about the Thunderbird people who fly when they fall from heights. I figured that's where it was gonna turn into, is a story where they actually do fly, just like they were saying they did.
The cookhouse is in disarray. Dirty plates and scorched pots scattered outside the tent. A young woman frantically scrubs, muttering. She blanches in panic as you approach, but forces a smile.
Greet the woman.
She shakes off the suds. Her hands and arms are marked with knife nicks and narrow burns.
Don't mind the mess. You look hungry. Take a seat. I'll work you up a little something.
As you sit, her fire-tanned face cracks into a smile of relief. She steps into the tent, and there's the discordant clanking and hissing of a cook at work. She emerges with a plate, a blackened sludge of beans and sweaty gray meat.
Eat.
She watches intently as you force down the first mouthful. Suddenly, her eyes widen.
I forgot your drink. Let me...
But the fire flares inside the tent.
No!
She gasps, staggering inside. The fire blazes again, and the woman screams. The heat stings as you enter. The tent's a jumble of empty cans, and there's the stink of rotting vegetables and burning meat. Your host is gone. A dark shape squats at the heart of the cook fire. It's time to leave.
Did you just feed me people? Because I think you just fed me people. I'm gonna have to ask for an apology, ma'am. Frustratingly, this is like equidistant between the two campfires. So I go to either of them next, really. Should go to the north one first, because that one has the least, like, is more likely to go towards the other one, potentially.
An old woman watches as you approach her bench. "Oh, aren't you a good-looking one?" she says. A broad smile creases her face. "This is an excellent spot. Everyone passes me eventually." She pats the seat beside her. "Join me for a moment." She rests her head against your shoulder, as if you were old companions. "Look." She runs a hand down your arm, points across a field to a lone tree silhouetted against the skyline. "I think of myself as like that tree." She glances at you, waiting for a reaction.
What do you mean?
Strong, healthy, alone. I've seen that field filled with plants and ravaged by fire. The trees outlasted everything. She giggles, strangely childlike. I've had 3 lovers. 2 men, 1 woman. Outlived them all. I don't grieve. Each one brought me joy, and each death brought someone else to comfort me. She sits up straight, shifts to face you. The tilt of her head is coquettish. Would you let me kiss you? The kiss she plants on you is soft and brief. It would have seemed chaste were it not for the grin of mischief that crosses her face. Yeah, that'll bring you good luck. And me, sweet dreams. She bursts into laughter at your expression and shoos you on your way.
Did she just go and add me to her spank bank? Or have I received the curse that took out her previous multiple lovers? After all, outliving 3 people's rough. Unless they were all old, which I doubt. So they're probably around her age each time. So it's unusual for them all to die before her so many times. Montana.
Afternoon. The fish nods affably. He swings his catch over his shoulder, grunting with effort. Got a big one today. Gonna eat it while it's fresh. They're welcome to join me. There's plenty to go around. He climbs off the jetty and lays the body on a large rock. He works with practiced efficiency. To remove the shirt, the fish cradles the body in his arms. When he removes the man's trousers and underwear, the gesture he uses to lift the corpse's hips is almost intimate. It seems the fish is taking care to not cause bruising. The fish trims the man's hair, head, chest, groin, even legs. Then, he stabs the knife into the man's chest, leaning hard to force it open. The bones part with a crack. Fish guts the corpse and tosses away the offal. You gonna help me get it on the fire? You prop the body up while the fish skewers it on a rough spear. The corpse sags in your arms like a drunk. Together, you lay the body over a pit of hot coals. Its flesh sizzles. There's a sharp, sour smell, swiftly overwhelmed by the odors of cooked fat.
Breathe in the hearty aromas.
Tantalizing, isn't it? Smell alone makes me famished.
The fish rolls his eyes in a melodramatic expression of desire. He flips the body over and tests it with a fork.
This bit's ready. Want some?
The flesh is chewy, rich, and oozes flavor. It is the sweetest of savory dishes. The warmth trickles down your throat and stokes your hunger. This is a meal that leaves the diner craving, not sated.
Don't rush it.
The fish warns.
You'll get hiccups.
It leaves you craving, not sated. It's a mistake to eat, on top of all the humanness of it all. Well, that was fucking surreal. I just kind of needed to commit to the scene and see where it was going. The strangeness of it all. The fish that's catching humans with little, like, human noose. And it didn't even have a hook. Somebody had fun drawing that. I was telling you a story about the Leatherman who was walked a route across Connecticut for 200 years. Why is this a funny story again?
The old man sits by the roadside. A post protrudes from the dirt. A mismatched set of horseshoes tethered to the top with colorful string. I wish I knew where it went, he mutters. He glances up and startles. I know you. We've met before, haven't we? I know you.
Tell him he's mistaken.
He stands, triumph in his smile. It's been 50 years, but I'd recognize you anywhere, General. He fingers his lapel. I don't have it anymore, but I remember that day so well. You shook my hand. He offers that hand to you.
Shake his hand?
There's a jolt as your palms meet. The sky grows dark. A faceless crowd gathers, a hodgepodge of uniforms and insignia. The old man smiles. Years melt from him. And then you said... The response leaps from your tongue. This is for your bravery. There's a medal in your hand.
And on the medal.
He grins, salutes. The horde around you falls. 100 spectral soldiers dropping into the dirt. You step back. The darkness recedes, and the world is as it was. But the old man still wears the medal. Well, how about that? Thank you, stranger.
What in the world? I guess I'll take it.
Want your picture taken?
The man's smile is eager. His teeth are sharp. His companion glances up sharply.
I told you, I don't like it. No more till we know it's safe.
Ask what the problem is.
The second man spits his words out.
We're killing people. We take their damn picture. A few weeks later, a newspaper wants it, and it's always a fucking obituary.
The sharp-toothed man shrugs. Traveling alone is dangerous. Not our fault. So, want a photograph?
Back a bit. Back it. There.
The sharp-toothed man fusses over the camera, ignoring his scowling companion.
Now just hold it. Hold it. Perfect. Wait an hour and I'll have it ready.
When the men come out of the dark room, their moods are reversed. That eager, sharp-toothed man is working his jaw furiously, as if chewing on bad tobacco. His friend beams as he calls to you.
Terrible picture. You're just a blur. No idea why, but reckon it can't harm you.
Not for 7 days, at least. Are you a 3 or 4 round character? I was only round 2, right?
I was still a kid when Dame started turning my head. Long gams, gleaming her eye, all dolled up, and I was done.
Got gams up to her eyeballs.
I didn't know how to talk to a dame. I was a boy, play acting as a man. But when I indulged in a little liquid courage, I was off to the races. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Well, it's exciting now. Shit. Exciting. Cowboy who tamed the wind. It's pretty exciting, ain't it?
That's the kind of adventure that sticks with you. They say when you get hitched, you give up your freedom. Freedom to do what? I got freedom now. Look where it's got me. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
Hopeful. Oh no, that's a good one actually. The ring that grants wishes.
Well, that one sure makes me smile. Our fate. We could have been happy, me and Louisa, but maybe it wasn't in the cards. Maybe my hand was dealt the first day my daddy came home after a few too many. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
The hopeful ones. The canteen that provided water for everybody.
Leaves a warm feeling in your chest, huh?
Well, yeah. I did a good deed, is what happened, and then it developed into a story of the greatest thing that's ever happened to anyone, apparently.
My wishes? Thought I wanted a dame who kept quiet, wouldn't give me any lip if I stayed out too late. Instead, Louisa marched in with a sharp tongue and a wink, and I got everything I never knew I wanted. So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
So he also likes the blood-pounded adventure stories, so he doesn't like funny stories. Let's throw one of those out.
Nothing's funny just because you call it a joke. Don't know how me and Louisa came together. We couldn't have known where we'd end up. Guess we had faith. Her and me and her. Some of them story rags, they'd end so sad I'd almost cry. You got any of those?
Sad songs and waltzes aren't selling this year. I misclicked a little bit, but it doesn't matter.
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. Change? I knew I had to change. I thought finding me a doll would make me a man. But no, I was still a kid. I'd have to grow up on my own. Well, here's the sun. Gotta get going soon. All this talk makes me think about my girl. Before our daughter, I never knew what it was like to have a life depend on mine. But once I held my baby girl in my arms, I finally learned my daddy's lesson. What about you? What lessons do you learn as your life goes twisting along?